definitely do it. Okay, so next thing, another thing that that Meg mentions in her book, she mentions different kinds of witches. And some of these I thought were really interesting, and I want to share those as well. So there's different kinds of witches. And some of those include an elemental witch. So an elemental witch is a witch who has a special kinship with a particular element, or maybe a combination. So that could be earth, air, fire, or water, or as I said, a combination of those. And one example is Anwen Avalon on IG. She is a water witch. I just mentioned her before. And she even teaches a water magic class. For her, she knows it's all about the water. For some people, they know they're all about fire. I know candle magic is my jam. I'm into the fire, but I also like the earth because my original tradition of hoodoo is all about plants and herbs. So, you might have a specific kind of kinship. You might be a crystal witch, so that's earth. So that's one. Another kind of witch is a cosmic witch. A cosmic witch is interested in astrology, moon phases, phases of the moon, and creating birth charts. That is another fascinating type of witch. And Luz Astral on IG, she is a great example of a cosmic witch, as she talks a lot about what's going on in any given day and what things are good to do on certain days, and she does birth charts for others. There's also the Glamour Witch. Glamour Witch likes to work with love, beauty spells, self-love, enchantments. And Michael, the Glam Witch on IG, he's an example of the Glam Witch because he's also quite glamorous and quite fabulous. So if you are interested in kind of magic that does that, you definitely want to check out Michael, the Glam Witch. I will make sure to have links down below. And then let's see, there's also hedge witches. Hedge witches, I try to remember the hedge witches by thinking they're on the edge, because they're on the edge in a couple of different ways. A hedge witch is usually a solitary witch and lives off to the side, like doesn't live like in the midst of everyone else. Like when you think about the witches that live in a hut, in the woods, that's usually a hedge witch. But a hedge witch also works with plants and herbs, and they work with like divination and in the liminal, like the in-between. We talk about on the edge between the future and the past, or reality and some other form of consciousness. So that is the hedge witch. There's a green witch. The green witch is a caretaker of plants and works with trees and gardens, and they create wellness options that are based in nature. And my friend Urban Mystic Jungle, she is definitely a great example of a green witch. She works at like this nature sanctuary where one of her jobs was to create a butterfly garden. So she would grow these particular plants that attracted butterflies. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. So that's one of the things she does. And then she has her own apothecary, and she creates all of these different teas from her plants and herbs. So that is definitely, example of a green witch. And then there are kitchen witches. So kitchen witches, they cook with magical intention. So if you are in the broom closet, you're a broom closet witch, you might want to try being a kitchen witch, because that is when you are cooking a meal, but you're using magic as you do it. So for example, instead, when you look like you are maybe creating like rosemary lemon chicken, but you're actually doing some kind of ritual with a different kind of magical intention involved. So that if you are in the broom closet, so to speak, kitchen witchery will be an easier way for you to practice your magic out in the open with anyone, without other people knowing what you're doing. Just a thought. Let's see. Another one is also related to the home, is the hearth witch. And that is a homemaker with magical intention. So if Martha Stewart, for example, was a witch, you might consider her a hearth witch, but like keeping the home cozy and creating like an atmosphere with magical intentions. So that is the hearth and the home, and making sure that everyone in it feels safe and loved. That is a magic all of its own. And you can also, add magical, your little magical spells to make that happen. So if that is your place of, if your home is like where your magic resides, then you may be a hearth witch. Then I'm adding some other ones. The art witch. Some people create magic with their art. And I'm not just talking about sigils, although those are included, those are magical symbols. But you might be an artist who creates paintings, but there may be some kind of magical intention that is involved in it. And then there's also music witches, and I believe I'm a music witch. That is a witch who creates or uses music to create magic. So I always tell people, if you like, at the end of your spell, after you've done with the candle, or after you've done the ritual part, you can play music with lyrics that are in alignment with your desired outcome. That's another way to incorporate music into your magic. Or maybe you're using something like binaural beats. There's like different frequencies that are involved, and people feel that they have been very helpful or beneficial for their desired outcome. And then there's also digital witches. Digital witches are those who use social media or the internet to cast spells. When you think about people who put like an evil eye on their Instagram feed because they want every evil eye to go blind, or they just want to deflect anyone who might be wishing them evil by posting an evil eye, that's being a digital witch. Or you might be making posts that have a particular digital, a magical intention. Whether or not you tell someone about it, that might be something that you're doing. So that's just, this is like very futuristic, but it is definitely a thing. And then finally, an eclectic witch is one who has a whole bunch of different pursuits. So you might be a little bit of a music witch, a little bit of a green witch, and a little bit of a cosmic witch. And, all of these things come together. Now, another people also use the word eclectic witch to describe people or witches who follow different magical paths. So like they mix and match, so they might mix a little Santeria with a little voodoo, and they just mix it up. Now, I don't know if that's allowed or not allowed, so I'm just making that up, so who knows. But some people like to mix different things up. They might have grown up in a particular tradition, and then they might add something else later on as they evolve as spiritual practitioners. As I said, this is something that happens. Now, for me, I used to say that I was an eclectic witch, and I believe that I am. However, I've been learning about this thing called chaos magic, and I was studying it, and I realized this kind of describes me. So chaos magic is sometimes referred to as success magic or results magic, or results-based magic, because it's really focused on the end result. And if you study with me for any period of time, I am kind of focused on what is your desired outcome. I'm always asking about that. And let's see, and chaos magic is kind of built around an experimental DIY kind of approach, and it strips all the different magical practices to their barest essence, and they can kind of mix and match. So they mix and match different practices, different paths in order to get a base, and they don't have a lot of the extra rituals that are involved. That is chaos magic, and I kind of feel like that's me. So that might be you too. So if that interests you at all, then definitely go do some research. Do some more research on chaos magic or any of these other types of magic that I discussed, and and let me know down below what you think.